You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the productivity specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 324, 5 Steps to Developing a Strong Team. If you're a business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we're going to be diving into the topic of knowing what it takes to develop and maintain a strong team so that you can maximize the benefits of having a team who supports you in achieving your business goals. This episode is a continuation of episode 322, How to Stop Micromanaging Your Team. If you have a tendency to micromanage your team members, then I recommend you hitting pause and going to listen to that episode first if you have not already done so. And then come back and finish listening to this episode 324. Before we dive into our conversation about developing a strong team, I want to invite you to take my next level business owner quiz. Again, if you have not done so, then hit pause. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz to take this short 3-minute quiz. I will tell you what is most holding you back and taking your business to the next level. And then I will send you a curated playlist of the podcast that addresses those specific challenges so that you can get strategies and methods that you can implement in your business today. 3 short minutes. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And now, let's get to the straight talk. All right, so I wanted to share with you that this specific episode was inspired by my client, Mike. Mike owns a company that does high-end custom pool and backyard design. And he came to a coaching session with this specific question. And it's an important question. And I gotta tell you, there's such power in finding great questions because on the other end of great questions are great answers and solutions that move our business forward. And he said, how can I support my team? Like specifically, as a leader, how can I best support my team? This is such an important topic for business owners, and these steps are super valuable to those wanting to develop and maintain a strong team. Just as when one body part hurts, the rest of the body is impacted. So it is true for your business as well. When one role or department is underperforming, your revenue suffers, which affects the business as a whole and trickles down to affecting each individual team member. Every business owner wants to have a strong team, but your team can only be as strong as your weakest link. So it is important to make sure each team member knows their role, is fully equipped to execute it, and feels supported. Whether you have a small team, a large team, or are currently flying solo, these 5 steps can help you develop and maintain a strong team. Number 1, document your processes. Now, this is not a fun or sexy topic, but it is actually incredibly essential for your team members to really know how to fill a role and how to succeed and how to do a job well. If you know you want to grow a team or add to your team in the future, the first thing you're going to want to do is start documenting your processes. Now, they do not need to be perfect, and we have a lot of episodes on the podcast that will help you get started. But you do need to have some sort of processes documented for a role that you're hiring for. And I'll tell you, it could be as simple as a checklist, or it can be as complete as a fully written out SOP. You can create your own, hire out the creation of your SOPs, or delegate the SOPs to a team member who performs those tasks and knows them intimately. There are many options to get processes documented, and it doesn't need to just be you. Number 2, train your team members on their role and how to perform tasks. This goes back to proper onboarding and training, ensuring that you or someone else on your team needs to provide that thorough training. Now, you can use people on your team or yourself, but I want you to get creative because you can also leverage training your team by using vendors, videos you find online, videos or knowledge-based articles for specific programs that you and your business use. You can also create your own videos that you record with screen share while it is monitoring tasks that you will be training this team member on. You can send a team member to a conference. You can have them take online courses. You can have them shadow somebody in the business, yourself or someone else. I'm sharing just a few ideas to get your imagination going on how you can leverage and not solely think that training a team member is only on your shoulders. This is so essential to their success and the business's success. You owe it to sit down and really think outside of the box on how you can get someone on your team fully trained. Number 3, delegate tasks and projects. What better place to invest your time than into a team member who multiplies your time? Delegation takes planning, time, and providing clear directions. It takes assigning deadlines with due dates, keeping track of what has been delegated and what directions were given. Delegating tasks and projects is key to developing a strong team. And sometimes delegation, clear communication, is not a skill set that naturally comes to you. And if that's the case, this is an area in which you can work on improving so that you can fully take advantage of the resources that you have in your business. You're already paying them. You've already taken the time to bring them on the team and hire them. Take a little extra time to slow down, properly plan, and provide clear directions so that the team members can do a great job. Regarding the delegation of tasks and projects, I highly recommend using a project management system. You can use something like I use, which is ClickUp, or another great one is Asana. Number 4, provide accountability, coaching, and feedback. Take time to let your team members know how they're doing, what they're doing well, and what needs improvement or redoing. Also, follow up on any deadlines so that your team knows that when you ask them to do something, you are following through. If deadlines aren't being met, follow up with team members, letting them know that you expect them to complete their tasks and projects according to the timeline you established. But also have open communication and support them and figure out how you can best solve any challenges that are coming up on why they think they can't meet those deadlines. Do they not think they have enough information or the right supplies or enough time to complete a particular project? As a leader, we want to make sure that we are providing everything that is needed for our team members to do well. By having this open communication, they may also be honest with you and tell you that they're feeling overwhelmed. Or maybe they just don't know how to prioritize and manage their time. Lack of skill set to efficiently complete the task, or perhaps your expectations are just a bit unrealistic for how long something should take. Or maybe you forgot that you asked them to do 3 other things, and then you ask them to do this thing, and they don't know what a priority is, and you certainly don't know what their capability of bandwidth is at that time based on their workload. Providing consistent leadership through accountability, coaching, and feedback will encourage your team members to show up their best for you and your business. I also want you to aim in reviewing tasks and projects in a timely manner, ensuring that you're not bottlenecking them. Often your team members can't move forward on their tasks without getting answers and feedback on the work they've already completed so that they can take it to the next phase or the next step on these multi-step projects and tasks. Which leads me to number 5, making yourself accessible. To develop a strong team, you have to consistently make yourself accessible. Scheduling consistent one-on-one meetings with each team member, where appropriate, to address any questions or concerns they have. Or if you have a larger team, consistently showing up for your management and leading by example of consistently showing up so that your management is showing up for their team members that report to them. Based on the role, based on how experienced the team member is, how much support that they need, perhaps these need to be quick 10-minute meetings daily, or it's fine to meet with them weekly or bi-weekly depending on their needs. Scheduling one-on-one meetings builds trust with team members. Let me back up. Scheduling and showing up for one-on-one meetings builds trust. It reduces interruptions throughout your day and your week because they can count on the time that they have FaceTime with you. And so now they're always filtering the things that they need from you of, does this need to be now or can it wait for our meeting? And when more get put into the bucket of it can wait for our meeting, then you get the efficiency of batching, you get less interruptions, they feel supported, and you're able to fully show up and give them 100% of your attention. Making yourself accessible with routine is crucial for building that strong team. Now, when I went through these 5 different areas with my client, Mike, we went through each team member on his team. Because the truth is that this isn't a question that you can just ask of in general in the business. I believe this is a question that needs to be performed and audited for each different team member because the gap in leading them or their needs may be different from role to role and person to person. Each of these steps needs to be reviewed and audited for each role on your team. Does that role for that team member have SOPs? Yes or no? Maybe they do, but you're not showing up to be accessible to them because this is an area of your business you're not too excited about, and so it keeps getting put off. Or perhaps they got hired on in a time that was incredibly busy and they didn't get the proper training needed to really show up and do a great job. Maybe they're taking on more responsibilities in their role, and so that requires them to have more professional development and training. Maybe there's one area of your business that you are exceptional at delegating because this is a role that you previously filled in your business. And then there may be a different role in your business that you feel like you're getting really stuck in delegating and communicating what it is you need. That's why I want you to think of this list, the 5 steps to developing a strong team member, as an audit list, not just for your business, but for each person on your team. So I want to just remind you of what those 5 steps are that you want to audit with each team member / role. Is there a process documented and usable by that team member? Does that team member need additional training or ongoing training for their role? Are you delegating consistently tasks and projects clearly, planned out, with accurate expectations of what can get done. Number 4, when you do delegate tasks and projects, are you providing them with the accountability of a deadline is a deadline? Are you providing coaching opportunities and feedback so that they know how to show up better and better in their role? Number 5, are you making yourself accessible consistently to ensure that you are not the bottleneck, that their questions are being answered, that they feel like they're being a priority? As a reminder, as we close out in today's episode, when I teach a business owner on how to identify their highest value activities, those show up in 4 different areas of your business. So we've got marketing and visibility, then you have sales, then you have servicing your clients, and 4th, but definitely not least, is leadership and leading your team. And as your business grows, you're going to spend less and less time being the person that's serving the client, being the person that's doing all the sales conversations, being the person that does all the marketing in your business, and moving more towards leadership. And if that's the season that you find yourself in, I would encourage you to do an audit and ask yourself and identify where are there gaps in each of the roles in my business and or in general in my business. Now, as you do this audit and you identify the gaps, I want to make sure that you have some resources available. So we will be sharing out specific episodes in the show notes, which you can find over at amberdelagarza.com/324. Again, all of these links for these specific episodes I'm getting ready to share with you can be found at amberdelagarza.com/324. We're going to be linking out to an episode called Lessons Learned from Building My Own Team. That was me going behind the scenes. Episode 132, Ask Amber, how much time should I spend on training? Episode 187, 5 musts to delegate effectively and be satisfied with the results. Episode 205, the 7 rules to minimize team members' interruptions. Episode 230, an in-depth look at the strategies that I use to schedule my time. Episode 249, 15 actions to lead your team effectively. 267, changing the game of SOPs and processes with Jennifer Smith. Episode 279, making documenting processes non-intimidating with Adrienne Bellhumor. And last but not least, episode 298, no systems, no bueno. So if you are new here, please know that there are plenty of resources that, look, the goal here today was to identify the specific gaps. And then I want you to know that there are resources through the podcast. And if you find that you want additional support, then reach out. This is what I do to help my clients during coaching. This is exactly what I did for Mike. We went through each of his team members and identified specific gaps. When there were multiple gaps, we then prioritized the gap in which he was going to focus on for each team member so that he could build his own strong team. If that's the type of support and coaching you're looking for, then I invite you to learn more and schedule a discovery call by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/coaching. Again, that's amberdelagarza.com/coaching. I surround myself with talented people who support me. That is one of my own personal affirmations. And that doesn't happen by accident, but with the utmost intention. I have loved having you listen to this episode of Small Business Straight Talk, and I sure hope you found today's conversation all about developing a strong team to be valuable and impactful. But I need to be straight with you. It is only as valuable as the action you take. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So, based on today's episode, will you take action by doing this audit? Will you schedule some time with yourself Even if it's at a coffee shop, or maybe it's just walking around the neighborhood, it could look like anything you want it to. But take the time to do this audit. Ask these 5 questions for each role in your business, identify the gaps, and determine an action plan to fill these gaps. If you want coaching and support with this, then we should talk. To learn more about my one-on-one peak performance coaching program or my group coaching program, Leverage Lab, head on over to amberdelagarza.com to learn more. If you are new here, welcome, and be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And today I have a special thank you going out to M. Bacon, who recently said, "The podcast you need." I stumbled upon this podcast by listening to Amber's interview on another podcast, and it was just what I needed. I love Amber's approach and the way she gets us thinking differently. One of my biggest takeaways has been transforming how I manage my inbox and plan my weeks. Making these simple changes has made such a big difference in both my personal life and business. Thank you so much, M. Bacon, for taking the time to leave us a review on iTunes. And if you've been enjoying the podcast, I would ask if you would take the time to leave us a review as well, wherever you're listening to this episode. And don't keep Small Business Straight Talk a secret. Be sure to share it with a fellow business owner who you think would find it valuable. So that's my Straight Talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.